Today, we're diving into something truly unique, a spiritual mission that's been going for over 70 years. But this isn't just about faith. It's about what happens when you combine ancient tradition with rigorous scientific analysis. It's a story about putting faith under a microscope. So let's start with this powerful Sanskrit blessing. It translates to, "May there be auspiciousness for all, everywhere." It's a simple idea, right? But it's also incredibly profound, and it really sets the stage for the universal goal of the mission we're about to explore. And that really gets to the heart of the matter, to the big question we're asking today. What actually happens when ancient faith isn't just taken at face value, but is meticulously examined through a scientific lens? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, so to really get our heads around this blend of science and spirituality, we first have to meet the person right at the center of it all, the man they call the scientific Swami. This is Swami SADA. Now, you might see him and think spiritual guide, but his approach is anything but ordinary. He brings this incredibly deep, analytical mind to ancient wisdom, treating it less like a doctrine you just follow and more like a system you can actually understand. And here's where things get really fascinating. Swami SADA is no question a master of Vedic mantras, but his curiosity didn't just stop there. He took a scientific approach to study the core mantras from all the major world religions. Just think about that for a second, meticulously analyzing their structure, their sound, their intended effects. This isn't about proving one religion is right, it's about looking for universal principles. He's literally building a bridge between faith and science. So you have this scientific mindset, right? But how does that actually translate into practice? Well, it all comes together in a grand ritual, a practice that has been going on, completely unbroken, on a scale that is just staggering. Just look at this timeline. This whole thing started back in 1952, and it has continued without a single break to this very day. We're talking more than 70 years of unwavering dedication. You know, that kind of consistency is almost unheard of. It just shows you the incredible commitment behind this mission. And what's the goal of all this? The goal is to complete the chanting of 240 million mantras. Yeah, you heard that right. 240 crore or 240 million. Just let that number sink in. It's so huge, it's kind of hard to even imagine. It represents this immense, focused reservoir of spiritual energy. So what is this mantra at the heart of such a massive undertaking? It's the Gayatri Mantra. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with it, this is considered one of the most sacred and powerful mantras in the entire Vedic tradition. It's essentially a prayer for spiritual light, for wisdom, for enlightenment. So here's how it all goes down. Every Thursday and Sunday, devotees gather around a sacred fire pit, known as an Agni Kund. The chanting itself happens in two distinct ways. The first is called Japatmak. You can think of that as a focused, meditative recitation. And the second is Homakmak, where the mantra is symbolically offered into the fire, which is believed to amplify its spiritual energy and, well, broadcast its intention out into the world. Okay, so we've got the scientific study, we've got the decades of practice, we've got the 240 million mantras. It all leads to one really big question. Why? What is the ultimate goal of all of this? Well, here it is. The grand ambition, the whole point, is to empower the nation of India, what's called Bharatvarsh, on a deep energetic level. And the reason for that, so that it can become a kind of beacon for the entire world, guiding all of humanity onto a path of universal welfare. It's a truly global vision. But what does empowerment actually mean in this context? It's not just one thing. The mission is aiming for a complete, holistic, threefold empowerment. First, on the physical, material level, strengthening the tangible world. Second, on the divine or subtle level, which deals with those unseen forces and energies. And finally, on the spiritual level, focusing on the inner strength and the very soul of the people. The idea is to build strength across every plane of existence. So when you pull it all together, you realize this is so much more than just a simple act of faith. It's a meticulously organized, decades-long spiritual project, and one with a scientific backbone. The whole goal is to create real, tangible, multifaceted strength, physically, divinely, and spiritually, and it's all in service of a pretty profound global purpose. Which leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. When you combine a scientific mindset with this level of unwavering spiritual dedication over so many decades, can it actually shape a nation's destiny and maybe, just maybe, even influence the future of the entire world? It's a pretty big idea to end Deep in the heart of Ahmedabad, there's a spiritual center called the SHIV SHIV Ashram that's working on a mission, a really, really big one. We're talking global scale. It's a place where ancient, powerful practices are being focused on a vision that goes way beyond its physical walls. So, how are they doing it? Let's dive in. You know, at the core of everything the ashram does is this one simple but incredibly powerful motto. May there always be welfare for everyone, everywhere. This single idea, it's the key. It's the absolute driving force behind every single ritual, every chant, and every offering made there. Okay, so to really get a handle on how they're putting this massive vision into practice, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. We'll kick things off with the ashram's core purpose. Then we'll explore its truly unique centerpiece, dive into the rituals they perform, understand the philosophy that guides them, and finally, see how it all ties into their grand mission for humanity. So first things first, the ashram's purpose is refreshingly direct. It's all about something called Vishvkalyan, which simply put means global welfare. But don't let that simplicity fool you, because behind that idea are some really profound implications. So you'll find the center in Ahmedabad's Motera area, and it's playing a fascinating double role. On one hand, it's a place where individuals can come for their own spiritual growth, but at the exact same time, every single practice is aimed at that much bigger target, the well-being of the entire world. So the big question is, how does the ashram actually channel this incredible intention? Well, it all revolves around this one thing, the sacred Sri Yantra fire pit. This is the absolute heart of the ashram, and it's way more than just a place of worship. It's a meticulously designed spiritual instrument. So, what in the world is a Sri Yantra? Think of it like a sacred blueprint for the universe. It's this super complex geometric symbol, all these interlocking triangles, and it's said to represent everything, from the entire cosmos right down to the human body. It's kind of like a map of creation itself. And this is where the ashram's genius really kicks in. They've taken that flat, two-dimensional symbol and built a three-dimensional fire pit, an Agni Kund, in its exact shape. What this does is create this unbelievably powerful fusion of sacred geometry and the raw energy of a fire ritual. And just look at how this space is designed. The fire pit sits in the middle of a circular platform, and around it are 24 seats. But 8 of them are really special. They're crafted from marble, and each one of those has its own smaller Sri Yantra carved right into it. It creates this incredibly focused, interconnected ritual space. So you've got this spiritual engine, right? Now what's the fuel? Well, that brings us to the rituals themselves, the actual sound and fire that power the whole mission. And the key here isn't just what they do, but the unbelievable discipline and sheer scale at which they do it. The main ritual is this beautiful combination of a physical act and a sonic one. Practitioners make offerings of pure cow's ghee into the fire, and as they do, they're chanting the Balatibala Mahamantra. The two were designed to work in perfect harmony. They're totally inseparable. And the scale of this practice is it's mind-boggling. Since the ashram was founded, more than 30 million repetitions of this one mantra have been chanted and offered into that sacred fire. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. And if you thought that was a lot, it doesn't stop there. For their bigger group sessions, the goal is even more massive. 240 million chants of the Gayatri Mantra. The level of commitment and dedication here is it's extraordinary. These huge rituals happen like clockwork, twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays. And what's really interesting is that the source material specifically notes that they're performed using scientific methods. The immediate goal here is to empower India, which the ashram believes is the critical first step to achieving that ultimate goal of global welfare. So, what on earth inspires this level of practice, this incredible dedication? Well, to really understand that, we need to peel back the layers and look at the foundation of pure faith that this whole thing is built on. The history here is a story of just remarkable consistency. The founder, Sri SADA, first established this fire pit way back in 1952. And get this, since that very first day, the ritual of making offerings 3 times a day has continued, completely unbroken, every single day. Now, the inspiration for this unique design isn't random. It comes from a really deep philosophical concept called Vishvkalyan. It's an ancient form of knowledge you find in the scriptures, and it's often described as a science of cosmic fire and consciousness. And this brings us to such a crucial point, and it's revealed in this incredibly humble quote from the founder himself. He actually admits that he couldn't fully explain the science behind it all. Instead,
He gives all the credit for the ashram's success to the pure, simple faith of his followers, who believed in the mission without needing every single detail explained. Okay, this brings us to our final section, and it's where all the pieces we've been looking at, the place, the rituals, the incredible faith, all converge into one ultimate vision, a mission for all of humanity. The ashram's grand vision really unfolds in 3 clear steps. First, the idea is to use these spiritual practices to empower India, making it strong in every way, both spiritually and materially. Second, for this newly empowered India to then help lead the rest of the world. And the final step, the ultimate goal, is to guide all of humanity onto that path of Lok Kalyan, that universal well-being we talked about right at the start.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. Whether you look at it through the lens of faith, or energy, or even collective consciousness, it really makes you wonder, can a focused spiritual practice, when it's performed on such an immense and dedicated scale, truly make an impact on the wider world? It's definitely something to think about.